No, I know this is kind of like a beaten up topic, about AI and just like everything going on right now in the world and how everything has changed. And, while I do want to talk about like why, how everything kind of changed in the last like 6 years or so, I also like, I feel like, especially on the internet, I feel like a lot of people are um more on like the negative side when it comes to just like things when it comes to just like the economy, AI, the job market, just like dating in general, people's like attention spans. Like we've heard all of it on the internet many times. So I don't really think there's any point in like kind of talking about that stuff. I kind of want to talk about like the more positive side of things. And I feel like it's a good thing to kind of think about when like people were going through like times like let's say the Great Depression or just like any other major event, I guess, that was kind of like a big deal during the time. I feel like people kind of thought of it as like it's gonna just like be something that will last forever and stuff like that. Like when it comes to just like the hardships or just like the economy or just people in general. Because after World War II and stuff, like the economy was booming. Like well, obviously not like right away, but it took a few times for it to like get right. And I feel like maybe that's the cycle that we're in right now. I feel like it's so easy to just like be really like cynical these days. And don't get me wrong, like I think about like just like, oh, what's happening with this, or just really concerned about just everything going on right now. But I feel like at the same time though, you can't really expect for things to just be bad. And I it kind of sounds a little bit like cope in a way, but I feel like that's the only way to kind of like get out of this too, because with everything going on with like the AI data centers and stuff like that, you got Trump in office doing fuck shit all the time, just getting away with a lot of bullshit. And it's just crazy how everything is right now, like people like just aren't the same anymore. 6 years ago, it's like it just seemed like there's something that happened within people. Obviously, we're on lockdown. I don't gotta talk about that, and we're like glued to our phones and stuff. But it just seems like, yeah, 2019 was just like the last normal year, and I think that's something that everybody can agree on. To be honest with you, um, but with all of the technology going on now, I do feel like that good things have to happen out of this, because it's like you can't really like you can't have just negatives. It's like the same thing with the internet in the 2000s. Like people thought that the world was gonna end, I think, like in 2000, because of the computers, how it was gonna like reset or something. But what's crazy is like, you know um 2000 was pretty much like the stepping stone into like a new era of like how we see the world, how we perceive it, and how we use things. Because it's crazy, because before like 2000s, it's really just like really just analog kind of stuff. Like you would have like one product for one thing. Like you might have one thing for email, one thing for phone, one thing for messaging, on one thing for just like whatever it is. And now everything's on our phone now. And did that come with like some cons? Yes, but also came with a lot of pros, and also some neutral stuff too, like attention spans and stuff like that. But at the same time though, like that's something that you can control in your head too as well. I'm guilty of it too. Like I'm on my phone a lot every day. And I feel like being on Twitter, being on Instagram, being on TikTok, shit like that, like it really like fucks with your mental health, um like subconsciously. Not saying like that, like, oh, like every time like I see a negative something or whatever on the internet, it's like I'm in a bad mood. But I just feel like a lot of people kind of take it like a little bit too little too seriously at times. And maybe I can be a little bit hypocritical with that too, because there's a lot of things I see on the internet. It's like, damn, that's fucked up with everything going on, like in Palestine, shit like that. And just just the human trafficking bullshit that's been kind of, that's pretty much been here like way before than like we could ever thought. Like the whole like Epstein shit, and like it goes deeper than what we really think. But I'm not really trying to talk about that right now. That's kind of more so just like this stuff, this shit you see on the internet, like on a day-to-day basis. Um, but with everything that all the cons that are coming out in the world right now, I feel like only good has to come with it. And if you really think about it, the internet is really like centered around people that is like kind of like in my age range. So I'm 25. I was born in 2000, obviously, and I feel like it's crazy because it seems like younger people and older people that are older than me, like when it comes to just like just like companies or or maybe the way they talk every now and then, like it seems to be more centered around like Gen Z, like people around my age range. And I feel like a good majority of people like my age, they we're just like fed up with everything going on, with the corrupt fucking corporations, the politicians, the people that are supposed to be like a guidance to society, just not is not the case. And I think it's gonna get to the point to where um maybe and unfortunately the boomers are gonna be like wiped out. And I generally do think that Gen Z is gonna be like the next generation to change everything. And um I feel like it could have maybe happened with the millennials, but I feel like in a way they seem to be more like obedient than than Gen Z. And I'm not saying like, oh, Gen Z doesn't like have obedience, or like the whole like perception of our age range. Gen Z seems to be, oh, we're lazy, we don't want to work, or like just shit like that. But the truth is, it's like we just don't, the reward just isn't there anymore. Like back in the day, you could like live off of one income, and it was all good and stuff. You can go on like vacation maybe like twice a year, and you be chilling. You have a nice car, maybe two cars, nice house. But that's just really not the case anymore. And it seems to be like now it's like you have to like have a roommate with you. And I'm not saying that's not a bad thing. Obviously, I think that's great, if like, especially if you're in that position that you can, and and like you trust the person that you're with and stuff. And that's great and all. But I feel like right now, so I live with my parents right now, and yes, I do obviously would love to move out. But I feel like you've seen the articles, you've seen the fucking posts, everything on internet, Twitter, about how like most of Gen Z is living at home with their parents. Even like people that are like 30. The I think the average homeowner, first time homeowner, went from like 30 to like 40 in the past like 6 years or so. I could be mistaken though. Someone could correct me on that one. But yeah, like everyone is kind of just living with their parents. And I feel like in a way that like especially with everything going on right now, I feel like it's more logical to more so live with your parents. And obviously, like, I'm not saying like everybody needs to do that, because not everyone has the luxury of doing that. I feel like I'm in a great spot right now, that I'm living with my parents, and I'm able to like save money and stuff like that for whenever I do want to move out. But if you really think about it, right, like job security obviously is fucked. Like no one's really like staying at a company, especially if you're my age and stuff. And millennials, like, they seem to be more like what's the word, like more comfortable in their positions because they're a little bit older than us. So like they're more so in like positions that's like they don't necessarily like want to give up. So, but the thing is, like with like Gen Z and stuff, like we're not really like in, at least like most of us like aren't really like in the corporate world yet, I guess you could say, because I've only had fucking shitty warehouse jobs, honestly. Um, and I feel like it just, how can you kind of grow as a person in a way if like you're just like in shitty jobs? But then it's like they expect us to like be overworked, underpaid, underappreciated, but still like they try to make it seem like that like we need them, and I'm not like, obviously we do need jobs and stuff for money, for like, for us to live. Obviously that's already a given. But the thing is like, there's just no job loyalty no more. The companies, they pretty much like don't give a fuck about us, and that's a known fact. Maybe like back in the day it was different. Like you actually got respect for being at a company for many many years, and I admire the people that stay at a company and they're there like, until like whenever they retire or whatever. And that's great and all, but I that obviously that that structure is not the case anymore, and I feel like, if you take out the reward of like doing the right things, going to college or learning a trade or whatever, especially college with like how much more expensive it's gotten over the past few years. And it's just like, if you look at it from like a more like statistic standpoint, it's like, why I don't know how much college tuition is. It depends obviously on like what college you go to, but like, let's say like, I think tuition is like what, like what, 4 years of something like a nice college, like 60K, or I'm not sure, I could be mistaken, I'm just throwing a number out there, but I'm pretty much just saying it's expensive. But it's like, what's the point of like getting a degree of that high if like sometimes these jobs like pay less than how much you paid your degree for, and then it's like you're paying your whole life paying for a degree that you can't afford. You're still like paying bills and stuff. Like it's just like, when younger people, well, I'm not really that young anymore, kind of ish, but it's like, you see people that are older that are like struggling a little bit with like the job market or just like everything going on. Obviously we're gonna question it because it's like there's no reward. We're not gonna be able to like, like move out on our own terms and stuff like that, like this the past, well, I guess you can say the first half of the year, when I did have a job, I was working like 50-hour weeks and stuff like that. And I got fired pretty much because just like, like I made like a few mistakes when it comes to like, because I was a picker, right? And to like kind of like speed up the little story here. I pretty much like, if you made 3 mistakes in 1 month at this company, um pretty much like it was a written up, and then it's like you pretty much like, if you stacked up like three or something like out of the time you're there, then you're pretty much fired. So like they pretty much fired me and just like a bunch of other people out of nowhere, like cold turkey. I've been out of a job for like 2 months now. I'm starting a new job this week actually. But like it's just like, the thing is like, like people don't mind working. Well, at least I don't mind working. There's always gonna be some people that just like hate it and just they just don't want to do it, and they just they rather just like do whatever the fuck all day. And but it's like for the people that actually want to like thrive and stuff, it's like sometimes you look at, like for example, I'm going to this job, right? And it's like, okay, well, I'm back to making like more money than I was when I was unemployed right now, right? I've been able to keep myself afloat, thanks to my parents and stuff like that. And I'm very appreciative. And I saved a lot of money for me to just like kind of chill when I didn't have a job. But it's kind of crazy because I think back at these 2 months I haven't had a job, and nothing has really changed, to be honest. Like I still go out, I still like play the game whenever I can, hang out with friends, hang out with family, just pretty much do whatever. But it just, I'm not working, and maybe like the only difference really is like I maybe can't get like the stuff I want, I guess you can say, as much. But it's like that's not really something that's like important. But it's like there's just no respect for the people to like try to get ahead in life, and it just seems like the reward is not there anymore. And it's like when um like you look at older people and it's like, oh, like you see like what they're kind of going through, and it's like, okay, well, why should all of us, like my generations, are asking like, okay, why should we get a degree, or like, why should we do this, if like it seems like everything is just kind of like falling to shit. And that makes sense to like to say, But going back to like, I think that there's also gonna be a lot of good things that come with this too. Like, I feel like, you know, for example, with AI and stuff like that. I was talking to my friend about this yesterday actually. We're pretty much saying like how like, so I'm a graphic designer and my friend he makes music, right? And it's just so crazy to think that like bro, like that they're trying to like replace like me, graphic designers or people that make art and like people that make music. It's just like what like what kind of like world are we fucking living in right now? Like this wasn't a thing 6 years ago, you know what I'm saying? Like um but like you see all these businesses on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube making AI thumbnails, AI posters, AI cover arts, AI fucking like animated series. You saw that fucking, I don't know if you guys saw um that TV show or something that Disney made that's fully AI generated, or some bullshit like that. And it's so crazy because it's like they're clearly trying to like normalize it, but it's just like they're quietly trying to do it in the fucking most like um kind of like directionless way, because it's like people that, even I feel like even people that are younger than me, it's like people I'm sorry. um People that are even younger than me, like they don't even like AI and stuff like that. And like, and there's also a lot of good things with AI too. And I know like, I was kind of like bashing on it a little bit, but like for example, I had to like send a file to this to Best Buy for like something, right? And it was when I saved the file, I had to convert it from a PNG to a PDF, and stuff like that. I think like is gonna make like little things like that just better, like for the quality of life for us. And like it's not all entirely bad either, and I'm not trying to be one of those people that, oh, AI is here to stay. It's just like that's just like unfortunately like what we have to deal with right now. And I'm feeling the effects of it. Like I'm a graphic designer, so I see a lot of people like businesses not really giving a fuck about the art direction or whatever their business puts out there, like making their business look more like, I guess, premium. And people might say like, oh, like, well, you're just bitching that you're not like making maybe as much money as like before. But the truth is, it's like I mentioned to my friend yesterday that it's like that dumbass like Pixar looking like AI shit or just any other shit that you can just tell is AI. If everybody is doing AI, and like let's say for the next like 5 years, like which probably gonna be the case, like at this point AI is not gonna go away, and there's gonna be a lot of people that like just really don't give a fuck with the art direction or whatever it may be. So they're just gonna use AI for everything. And I think like when you heavily rely on AI for everything, I think it's a problem, because it's like you're really taking out like the whole like, because obviously the process is I feel like more important than destination at the end of the day. And it's like if you really enjoyed doing what you're doing, then it wouldn't really matter on like how you're doing it. But I feel like if you remove the process from it and everybody gets the destination, like where's the where's the pride, like I just feel like people just don't take pride in the things they do, because like, oh, like fuck it, I'll just ask AI to do it. I don't know how many times I've fucking seen like all these like AI like websites, like you can just tell someone prompted, oh, like make me something that like sounds inspirational, and it's just a bunch of garbage bullshit that just like it's just not inspiring, like the designs, like let's say like a clothing brand or whatever. It's just like the designs is just like you can just tell us AI. And like, and I feel like in a way it's not really surprising either, because like everybody like seems to be like, I'm very glad that more people are making businesses and they want to make a name for themselves, and they want to chase after their dreams and get more out of their life. But I just feel like a lot of people are not taking, and a lot of people aren't taking it like the way they should. And I'm not saying like I'm any perfect, because I could be better too, not in the AI sense, but just like in general, but it just seems like when you kind of just like not really care about the process of things, and if everybody can have the destination, then it's like where's where's the quality in it, because it's like the whole point for to make a business is because it's supposed to be hard. I'm not trying to sound like no fucking um no like one of those like Andrew Tates or whatever the fuck, but it's true, like I think that people would just think that, oh, like AI is here, so it's like everything, everybody can do everything, and that's fine. That's a great mindset to have, because before you couldn't like make a living off of, well, you had to get lucky and like hope that whatever company or corporation accepts you, and that was it. Now it's like you can make shit like right now after this fucking video if you wanted to, and while that is great, like I would say one of the cons is just people thinking that they can just kind of, I guess you can say this, like do things that they really like don't have any business doing, if that makes sense. I'm not trying to sound like an asshole either, but if you're being honest, like like you look at the people that are successful, just in general, it don't matter any industry, and it's like they're there because like they went through things that were hard, and I feel like people are so like fucking entitled now, especially with how the world is running, and it's just like people don't want to like work for the things they have, and they just think that, oh, like especially with like social media, people thinking that there's some fucking influencer, people thinking that like they can just get whatever they want because of this or that, or whatever entitlement they feel in their head. They're like, oh, well, I'm gonna do this or that, and then like I expect people to just like give me this or that for no reason, like um and even for me, in a sense, like when I started to do so I learned how to do graphic design when I was like I would say like 15, 2015, when I was in high school, my freshman year, obviously. Um, and I barely started to like make any kind of income off of it last year, to be honest, like earlier last year. And I feel like most people, it took me about like a little over damn, like over like 10 years, but I didn't really start getting more serious about it until like a little bit after high school. But it's like I don't really see people being patient enough to like want to go through that, like I feel like people like they make something right now, and it's like they want the satisfaction of accomplishing it like right there and then, or they want the dopamine of like being like whatever admired, or whatever fulfillment they might have that they're trying to fulfill. Because if I'm being honest, like um, a lot of people seem to be doing things just for the sole purpose of being accepted now, and it's crazy to think about, because it's like people seem to go out of their way for it. Like you see all these people that are making music, you see all these people that having like clothing brands, or just like any other like whatever industry, and it's like they just seem to want it for their own like personal gain, and it's not really about like the craft anymore, so it's like I'm really curious to see, like, because at the end of the day, it sucks to say, unfortunately, like not everybody is gonna like make it, because that's what makes like great people, is because not everybody can make it, and the people that do make it actually like took the time and energy to, for the process, and for the love of it, like when I started graphic design when I was like 15, I remember like they were showing me like the salaries and stuff for like graphic designer, and I've always wanted to learn graphic design. I've been, I was in the Call of Duty community, the Trick community, like back in like phase days and shit like that, like 2013, 2014. So it was just like I kind of got more like inspiration to kind of like design more because I saw the people doing it for fun, and I like that's why I wanted to learn. And I saw like when I was in high school and freshman year, when my graphic design teacher was trying salaries, it was around like this is 2015, so I don't know what's adjusted for inflation now, but it was like 30K, 40K, 45K maybe at most. But even then at the time I remember like that's not really a whole lot, but I still enjoy doing it. And I feel like just because like I enjoy doing it, like I feel like that's what kind of like helped me with like kind of still like going at it now, because if you don't love to do something, then it's like you're just gonna give up. And if I'm being honest, a lot of people don't love what they're doing or what they're putting out to the world. So it's like they just want like immediate like affirmation or whatever the fuck it is. And it just seems like I don't see people like taking the time to like you know doing what they love. I'm not saying like that in a cynical sense, but I see it's like in a way it's like what I see. Um but at the same time though, I'm very glad that people are starting to like believe in themselves more so. And they have people have more of a voice now than ever, which is great. But like with everything, the internet, people thought that the jobs, like people thought that the internet was gonna take their jobs away. But however, yes, the internet did take a lot of jobs away when it came to like the early 2000s and stuff. But it also created some new ones. And this might be cope a little bit because we'll see what happens in the next like 5, 10 years, 20 years. But I generally do think that like AI will also is like the next wave of that. Like you can't have good without bad. You can't have bad without good. And there's gonna be some like neutral shit in there in the middle. But it's just like how you kind of like maneuver your way into like this like new world, I guess you can say. Um, but I might sound a little bit like cynical to a certain extent, but I also am very like I'm very what's the word? Um I look forward to like what is gonna happen in the next few years, because I think there's gonna be a lot of good. Because if everybody is using AI, that just means that the people that are not using AI, like if they especially if they mention it, and this is already happening right now, um is like if they like disclose that they're not using AI, then like that like company or brand or corporation will be seen as like more premium than like the rest of the companies. And it's just kind of crazy to think about, because it's like it just seems like why should there be even a like a premium. But like we're here now, it's obviously we can't do nothing about it. So it's just like however you want to maneuver through it, that's on you. um just like the little like also with just like the little like tasks of just like let's say like accounting jobs, or just like come up with some ideas in your head about like something maybe you worked on and stuff like that. Like and ChatGPT is great for like throwing ideas out there, maybe talking about how you feel every now and then and stuff, but I wouldn't use it as like a crutch. um but it can be very helpful if you know how to like use it right. um so I just wonder like, yeah, like what's gonna happen in the next few years. But I look forward to it because I think a lot of good is gonna come out of this. And if you made it to the end right now, I would suggest like maybe just like learning a trade or a skill. I know that sounds cliche as fuck, but it's just like it's the truth. That's kind of what we're living in right now. Like content creation, or just like I guess you can say like being your own brand. And I know that sounds fucking corny as shit, but it's true. I feel like you have like a more leverage and more like just freedom when you try to like do things more for yourself instead of like another company. And in a lot of ways I wish it wasn't really like that, but it's something that you can't ignore either. Um, but yeah, like I look forward to what's gonna happen. I feel very, very hopeful of the future, even though right now everybody seems to be very grim about what's going on with the world right now. But yeah, that's all I gotta say.